Hey, everybody, welcome to the SCB Steelers Inside Blitz for March 11th, 2025. And tomorrow is the beginning of the NFL's new league year. But as all of you know, the league year is well underway and really never stops. The legal tampering period has been going on the last several days, last couple days, I should say. And it's been a busy one. I'll admit that for our Pittsburgh Steelers, it's not exactly gone the way I thought it would, and I say that with respect to the fact that I thought they would have landed a defensive lineman, perhaps. I thought they would have had a quarterback by now, but I'll get into that in a few minutes. And obviously, the real surprise was the trade for DK Metcalf. Steelers will give up a second-round pick this year, and then, of course, the teams are swapping picks in the later rounds of the draft as well. And look, I mean, I like the trade. I mean, I don't know how you can't. Metcalf is a young player still. Yes, his overall numbers were down a tad the last season or two, but I'm going to attribute that to a number of other factors too. But quarterback play, just overall play in general of that Seattle offense, which has been very up and down in the last couple of years. So, give him the benefit of the doubt. It's coming into a new city. It's a new start for him. I have every expectation that he'll kind of return to his all-pro form that we've seen in the past. And again, he's got 6 years under his belt. He's relatively young, but I'm excited about it. And, of course, the residual effect, as I think many of you know, what to do with George Pickens, because they're not going to pay two receivers big-time dollars, okay? They've are now on the hook with DK Metcalf for $150 million. And they're not going to pay a similar type contract to another wide receiver. It's just not going to happen. And my gut feeling is this probably is something that happens closer to draft day, as teams start to recognize that they weren't able to find receivers in free agency, or that maybe the guy that they want in the draft probably isn't going to be there. So they'll trade a pick or two to get a talented guy like George Pickens. And what you get with Pickens in terms of athletic talent, ability, a guy that can potentially score anytime, but you also get a lot of headaches. So overall, I do like the trade for Metcalf. And I wonder, I had to wonder several times in the last couple of days what this move would have been like back in a little more of Ben Roethlisberger's prime or later career. Bringing in a wide receiver like that for him would have been pretty cool. But Omar Khan is definitely not Kevin Colbert, and in some ways that's good, and in some ways it's not. And I think some of these moves, which I hate making grades and stuff because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You got to see how these players fit. You got to see how things work out. But let me just talk real quick about quarterback situation. Justin Fields is off to New York, and good for him. He got roughly $10 million more than the Steelers were allegedly offering, and you can't blame a guy for doing that. And plus, there's never any guarantees in the NFL. I think these players know that, but it appears he'll get a fairly decent shot at being the starting quarterback there. They really don't have anything else at this point. So, and that's something I don't know if Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan could promise him. And look, he handled everything very professionally last year, 4-2, and had the team in good position. And they turned the keys to the car over to Russell Wilson, and Fields could not have been more professional about it. And so I wish him well. And but at the same time, our other options dwindled quickly. Okay, Sam Darnold was gone. And a few other guys, Daniel Jones, who was a possibility, went to the Colts. And so now what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at Aaron Rodgers. We're looking at, maybe running it back with Russell Wilson. My God, we're looking at Gardner Minshew, maybe. Who knows what we're looking at? But what's really kind of dawned on me in the last few hours, 24 hours, I don't know, is that I really think the Steelers are looking more at 2026 than they are 2025. They won't tell you that. Mike Tomlin won't tell you that. Omar Khan won't tell you that. Or Rooney II won't tell you that. But when you look at the potential compensatory picks that they are accumulating with the signing of guys like Fields, James Daniel, Najee Harris, and I mean they're going to have a stockpile potentially of picks going into next year, and that is good because that provides you with ammunition and it provides you with what you need to be able to move up in a draft to get a quarterback in an earlier spot in the first round. And the draft in 2026 will be better, at least it should be, in terms of quarterbacks. Now, have I heard rumors that they like Jackson Dart a lot? Yes, I have. The problem is, and I like Jackson Dart. He's a competitor. I like a lot of things that he does. The problem is he's not a first-round quarterback, and we don't have a second-round pick now. And he is not going to last till the third round. Teams are too damn desperate for quarterback play. He will not be around. So I guarantee you, if they really truly think he's a guy, then they're going to have to probably take him in the first, or what I would really hope and what I always love is trading down. But again, we are getting way ahead of ourselves in that respect. But when you look at all these comp picks that are going to be available, it does give them the ability to do that. Look, we'll talk much more on the podcast coming up Thursday night about Aaron Rodgers. I'm assuming by then we'll know if he's going to be our guy or if he's gone over to the Giants. Apparently he's flirting with them. He's flirting with the Vikings a little bit. But it is what it is. It's not like I'm not going to watch the Steelers. It's not like I'm not going to root for the Steelers, but I'm not a fan of this guy. His numbers dropped off drastically last year after the Achilles injury. He did not move in the pocket very well. And I just, at this point, I would rather have Russ back, to be real honest with you. And if you look across the board, Russ's numbers were pretty even, or if not better than Aaron Rodgers last year. And I just, that's kind of where I'm at. I would just rather, if I'm going to give up 40 or 50 million bucks a year to a quarterback, I just, at this point, I'd rather it just be Russ. But, I don't know. I don't think you can rule out trades. I mean, it depends how desperate this team is. I think, as we've talked many times, this team is not a quarterback away. Yes, they're building, but overall, so far in the free agent tampering period, Landon Roberts was a guy I completely missed on. I thought he was going to be a Steeler. I had no doubts in my mind. If you would have told me over and over, I would have disagreed with you. I would have said, man, this guy's coming back. He was an absolute stud against the run. No, he's not a 3-down linebacker, but he's been terrific, and he blitzes the quarterback well when he's asked to do that. And he's just a good leader. He's experienced. He's got Super Bowl rings. But then we went and signed Malik Harrison, and we brought, struck up a different deal with Cole Holcomb, who hasn't played in over a year, 2 years. I guess I don't really understand where they're going here. I mean, with Harrison, you do get younger, you get faster. But it's curious to me. Let's just put it that way. So I'm really curious to see what that linebacker rotation ends up looking like once we roll into the spring and stuff after the draft. But as far as everything else going on, I mean, Darius Slay, there's still some thoughts there that the Eagles might not be ready to get rid of him just yet, and so we'll find that out more specifically tomorrow once the new league year begins. And I can't stress enough that all of these things that we hear when you see a guy is going to sign with so-and-so and a guy is, remember, these are just gentlemen's agreements essentially, because things can change once the new year league starts. Excuse me, new league year. Jeez, I'll figure it out one of these days. Once that starts, then you can start signing on the dotted line. The trades become official and all that. But until then, there's a little bit of doubt in there. So I'm I like the signing though. He's 34, and I'm not crazy about 34-year-old cornerbacks, but he's still playing at a pretty high level. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Joe Hayden when Joe Hayden came over from Cleveland. He might have a couple years left in the tank, and that's okay. A veteran presence would be good. I think it would be good for Joey Porter Jr. to have that as well. So hopefully that works out. I still think they'll look cornerback both in the draft and continue here in free agency as well. I wish Najee Harris well. I nothing but respect for him. We ask our players so much, and he's durable. He's never missed a game. The guy's played hurt. He always plays hard. So I wish him well. And, he's going to be playing for a team out there that knows how to run the football. And, I don't know. I'm sure he'll do okay, but I think he is what he is. He's going to be that 3 to 4 yard a carry type guy. And just hope for the best for him out there. So again, like I said, one of the real curious things to me was the fact that we have not been able to pull in one of the top defensive linemen. And with the release of Larry Ogunjobi, I'm dead serious, people. We've got Cam Hayward, who is 35 years old, and we've got Keanu Benton, and that's about it, because there's really nothing else on that defensive line. Logan Lee was a rookie last year, didn't really see much time. He was drafted on day 3, and I don't think any of us should have any expectations that he's going to be a guy to count on. Maybe he will be. It'd be great, but sitting here right now in March, I just don't see it. So those are some of my preliminary thoughts on everything. And like I said, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is this year. We'll root for him as we always do. We root for the black and the gold and hope for the best. And I as I said in the opening, I still think this is turning out to be just as much about 2026 as it is about 2025. So make sure you check out the SCB Steelers podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated. We'll be coming at you Thursday night at 10 p.m. And it's a great time. If you haven't been to the show before, stop in. We have a wonderful group of people that are in the chat every single week. We got knowledgeable, funny people, and we have a great time doing it. And I would fully expect this will be a busy show with all of the free agency going on. A lot of the what ifs, and as they say, ifs and nuts and candy and butts and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, thanks so much for your time tonight. And hopefully you've enjoyed the tampering portion, because now it gets real starting tomorrow on Wednesday when the NFL kicks off its 2025 season. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is SteelDad signing off. This has been the SCB Steelers Inside Blitz.